Money's a bit tight at the moment. No makeup. But I've got to get my summer seedlings sorted out. So I've bought some really cheap potting mix. Well, actually I did. This was my birthday present from my family, for which I'm very grateful. Cheap potting mix is okay for seed raising mix. Doesn't have a lot of nutrition in it, which is something that I'll talk about in a later video. So I'm using an old Asian deep frying scooping thing. You know what I mean? And I'm just sifting out all the really big stuff. And that won't go to waste. I'll put it back into the compost. Seed raising mix is pretty much just compost and dirt, without all these big heavy materials in them. And they use that for seed raising mix because that way the seeds can actually, when they germinate, they can actually push through that dirt. It's going to take a while. So I've just sifted all of the potting mix and got all of this bark and garbage out of it. Sorry you're a bit wonky there. So that's going to go in the compost. I pretty much filled this tub with the potting mix, but it's still got a few bits and pieces again. So I'm just going to sift it again. I probably don't need to, but I'm going to sift it again just to be on the safe side. So here we go. We've got nice, fluffy, mostly lump-free seed raising mix. And that's all the stuff that I got out of it. As I said, that won't go to waste. My compost bin is actually quite nitrogen heavy at the moment, and so it really needs that carbon material put in it. So yeah, definitely not going to go to waste. So now I'm getting ready for the fun stuff. I'm going to plant out some seeds in punnets. And I'm using this guy. It's a 3-piece job. I quite like these, but I noticed that the first one that I got, which cost a lot of money actually, that the individual cells cracked quite easily when I tried to take the seedlings out for transplanting them, which was suboptimal. So instead, I'm going to use these guys. Simply flattened them, and then me and my family sat down one night and just cut holes, sliced the ends of them to come up with a little container like that. But one thing that I've noticed is really critical when you go to plant these out, you must let these loose. I mean, they'll be nice and sloppy and decomposed, it'll be easy to do, but otherwise the roots can't get out the bottom of them. So bear that one in mind. Filling my lovely seed raising mix that I made. I haven't figured out how many of these I need at the moment, so I'll do 10 and see how I go. But I'm not going to make you sit through and watch all that. I'm sure you've got better things to do with your time than to watch me make a fool of myself on the internet. So I've wet these down. They're all quite moist now. Now I get to plant some seeds. Actually, first of all, I need to make a few tags. I'll just make a few to start with because I don't know exactly how many I'm planting at the moment. I made these out of ice cream containers. You can buy bamboo and other renewable resources. I had these around. These are reusable. I'm not going to go and spend money on something that if I've got something at home I can use instead. So let's start off with sweet basil. I learnt the hard way to put these in before I put the seeds in, because you think you're going to remember which seeds you've put in what containers, and spoiler alert, you don't. So I've got 2 sweet basil here. Now, my lovely nails are fake, which means I'm absolutely terrible at picking up little fine things. So I use a pair of tweezers for this, which can still be a bit of a challenge. I've got a few seeds on my palm. I'm going to put 2 per punnet. Conventional wisdom says that you bury a seed twice the width of the seed itself. Just cover them over. Done. So that's the sweet basil done. Next I've got Jack B. Little pumpkins. These are really cute pumpkins, and they grow a pumpkin that is about that big, enough as a single serve of roasted pumpkin soup, which I think sounds amazing. I get most of my seeds from diggers, not because I've got some sort of ethical issue with other seed raising organisations, but diggers have been really good to support me. They've been unstinting in their advice, and I am a complete dumbass when it comes to all this, because this is my second growing season ever, and they've clearly adopted the attitude that there's no such thing as a stupid question, there's just a lot of inquisitive idiots, and I am certainly an inquisitive idiot. So these seeds are a lot bigger, so I don't need the tweezers for these. I've done it again, haven't I? I need to write out my tags first. I'll put these away. Get a couple of tags. I'm only growing one pumpkin variety, so I'm just going to write pumpkin on it. And it does help if you can read your own writing. Discovered that one too. Okay, as we were. So again, 2 seeds per little punnet. Because these are big guys, you don't need the tweezers. But I am going to use the tweezers just to cover them up and make sure they're sufficiently down in the little punnet so that they germinate properly. Okay, next is rock melon. Four seeds. In my first growing season, I was really mean with the seeds. I didn't want to waste them, but I realised, I've lost the seed, I realised the germination rates are actually a thing. And so you actually really do need to plant 2, just in case one of them doesn't germinate. lettuces. Push them down and cover them up. Finally, we've got some cos lettuce, and that actually works well. I'm going to start that again. I'm going to put in some seeds right now, and then in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to do some more. So that way we've got a consistent amount of cos lettuce throughout the growing season. I'll continue to do that every fortnight so that I don't get 17 cos lettuces on one day and then have none the next week, because that would make no sense. I don't like lettuce that much. I don't know why I insist on wearing light coloured pants when I do this sort of stuff. It never works well. Thank God they wash easily. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the good thing with all of these seeds is if both seeds germinate in a container, I can just divide them. These ones aren't real sooks. I've learnt that carrots are real sooks when it comes to pulling them out and transplanting them. We've had some hilariously shaped carrots in the last week. I'll pull some more out probably this weekend and we'll see how they go. So these are quite small seeds, as you can see, maybe. And again, 2 per pot. Sowing little seeds on a windy day is probably not the most genius thing I've done today. But I started to panic because I realised that we are so far into spring and I haven't done any of my spring planting yet in Veggie Patch 1. Okay, so there we go. I've got 10 seedlings all ready to go. Well, seeds ready to turn into seedlings. I put a cover on this. And I close the vents. I'll actually put this out on the front veranda because we're facing west here, which means that this will get brutalised by the afternoon sun. But I've discovered through trial and error that putting them out on the other side of the house, which is of course facing east, it means that they only get the morning sun, and so they will harden off quite easily out there. They'll still get enough sunlight to warm them up and germinate them. And once they've germinated, I'll remove this, and then they'll actually start to get the rays of the sun, so they'll start to get that radiation, so they won't die off. I had a lot of plants die off out of the winter veg planting and early spring planting, which I'll talk about in another video when I talk about things I've learnt and things I won't do again. But thanks for your time. Actually, it's probably worth mentioning before I actually do sign off, I've got all this lovely seed raising mix here. I can't let it go to waste because I'm certainly not going to buy seed raising mix. So when my daughter went to the Royal Adelaide show this year, she got a giant container of fairy floss. I said to her, don't throw the container out because I've got plans for it. Now, as you can see, it is transparent, so I'm going to keep this out of the sunlight. And I'll keep the lid on it slightly opened so it doesn't go mouldy, but it needs to stay moist or else it won't be beautiful and fluffy the way we've made it today. Now I promise I'm actually really going. See you later. If you like these videos or you find them entertaining, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.